Hi everybody, Penny here. Welcome to my kitchen. So today I am going to throw together a super easy crock pot chili. Now chili can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. This is going to be a very simple one. But first, I want to show you a little trick that I often do when ground beef or hamburger meat is on sale. So I happen to have two crock pots, which is great. We're going to use this white one here for the chili, and then we're going to use this one here to cook up some ground beef without having to stand at the stove and, fry it up and so on and so forth. So spray your crock pot or oil it, whatever you would normally do. I've done that to both crock pots. So now I have a family pack of hamburger meat, and I'm going to throw that in the crock pot. As simple as that. Lay that aside, and then I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper, and a little bit of Worcester sauce, or maybe a lot of Worcester sauce. If you watch the videos, you know I love my Worcester sauce. So as much or as little as you like. There's no right or wrong. Gonna put the lid on that, put it on high for 4 hours because it's already after lunch, or you can put it on low for 8 hours. This is still partially frozen, so I might let it go to 5 hours. So make sure you know that it's not pink or anything on the inside after it's cooked. But once it's cooked, we'll come back and I'll show you another trick. So Barry's gonna put this in the other crock pot for me. And we're going to get started with our chili. So, super easy. First of all, we're cheating with the bell peppers. We have a bag of frozen, already cut green peppers. In the pan it goes. Already sliced up. There are green peppers, red peppers, and yellow peppers, which is fantastic. So that goes in there like that. Don't have to do another thing. I have some celery, so we're going to chop that up. If I don't have celery, I'm not going to worry about it. I just do everything else. And again, just chop as fine or as big as you like. It's going to be nice and soft because it's going to be in the crock pot on high for 4 to 5 hours. So we don't have to get too complicated with it. And remember, when you're chopping, it's like a backwards train. You go like this. You bring your knife back, push forward. You bring your knife back, and you push forward. Let's see if I can do it sideways here. Bring your knife back, push forward. See that action? And you hold your knife. Never do this. Always hold your knife. Your thumb is on one side. See if I can show you. And your fingers are on the other side, just above the handle. And that's a good strong grip, so you'll have really good control over your knife. Don't worry about speed. That will come in time. And the best thing is a sharp knife. A dull knife is a dangerous knife. Now I'm slicing these celeries in half because I love it in soups and chilies and things like that when it gets really soft, but I'm not a big celery person. So I like to chop it in half so it's just a little bit smaller pieces. Don't forget your claw. Make sure your pinky is in and your thumb is in and you have your claw. And of course the reason for that is when you're slicing with your claw, your fingers are in. When the knife comes, you see how that's going to touch my knuckle? Not cut my actual finger, which of course is very important. So make sure you have your claw and your pinky is in and your thumb is in. Okay, so that's the celery. I've also already peeled an onion. Now you can put in more than one onion if you really like onions. You could easily put in 2. This is a fair size one, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. It is a little softer. It's an old onion out of the fridge. But you know what? It's going in a chili, so it doesn't really matter. it doesn't need to hold its texture because it's going to get really, really soft anyway. So we're not going to worry about that. I cut it in half so that we would find a flat surface, which again is really important when you're chopping, to find a flat surface because that makes it safer. Okay, so we're going to throw this in on top of our peppers. There we go. Oh, a little bit of celery. Just going to stir that up a little bit. Okay, we're going to put in a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. That's all to taste, of course. Now we're going to put in a package of hamburger meat. This happens to be ground sirloin because it was on sale. But again, we're not cooking it first. We're putting it all in the crock pot. So we don't have to stand at the stove and cook up the meat and all that kind of stuff. I'll just throw that there. And on top of that, we're going to throw 1 large tin of diced tomatoes. And we're going to spread that around like that. Now, here is chili powder. You can go buy chili powder, not a problem. If I don't have it in the house, and I just don't happen to have any today, it's easy to make. So easy to make. What I have here is 4 tablespoons, measuring tablespoons, of paprika. You can use smoked paprika, regular paprika, totally up to you. I have a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I have 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, and I have 1 tablespoon of dried oregano. Added to that, which is not part of chili powder, I have 1 square of beef oxo, and I'm just because I want to enhance the beef flavor of the chili. So we're going to mix all this up. And obviously that's too much for 1 chili, but that's great because you can put it in a bottle or you can put it in a little sandwich baggie and keep it for next time. There we go. Just squatting up that beef oxo. Now if you have powdered oxo, go for that. And I don't want this chili to be super watery. It's going to generate its own liquid because it's in the crock pot. But if you like more of a soupy texture in your chili, you could go ahead and add maybe a half a cup of beef broth. Totally up to you. All right, so this is our chili powder. Simple as that. And I'm going to put in 2 kitchen tablespoons right on top of the meat and the tomatoes and everything. There we go. Look at that. And I got a little bit on the sides, so we're going to look after that. I'm just going to do off my spoon. And there, that's easily enough for another 1, maybe even 2 pans of chili. Now, do you want it spicy? Well, you could add anywhere from 1/8 of a teaspoon. I would probably go with a 1/4 teaspoon of dried red pepper flakes because I like it spicy. Or if you live close to an Asian supermarket, this is actually the same thing, only ground up. So I am going to add 1 teaspoon. I'm going to be courageous of the ground dried chilies. There we go. And that's going to be quite enough heat to go around. At this point, we put the lid on and we're going to put it on high for a minimum of 4 hours. I'm trying to get it to 6. No, hang on. Give me 1 second. There we go. Oops. Trying to get it to 6. There we go. 6 hours on high. Or like I said, 8 maybe 9-10 hours if your meat is frozen on low. But if it's not frozen, 4 hours on high, plenty, and 8 hours on low, plenty. So you're asking, where's the beans? Well, they're over here. So when this goes for 4 hours, then I'm going to add 1 can of just baked beans, not drained, 1 can of black beans, drained, 1 can of red kidney beans, drained, and I'm going to throw in a can, maybe even 2, of mushrooms, drained. Now the reason I'm not adding these now is because when that meat is cooked, we're going to take either a potato masher or a couple of forks, or I happen to have a meat masher, and we're going to do that in here because we didn't fry it on the stove. Remember, we're saving time, super, super easy chili. And we don't want to mash up our beans, but our celery is already chopped, our onions are already chopped, our peppers are already chopped, our tomatoes are already chopped. So if we happen to chop that a little more as we're mashing up the meat, that's okay. So once our meat is all mashed up, in about 4 hours, we're going to add this, and then we're going to let it go for another half an hour, maybe an hour, depending on what we're doing and what time it is. Super, super easy, not a problem. We'll be back. Hi everybody, back again. So we're ready to chop up the meat that's in our chili. Now this is a meat chopper doomaflicky. I happen to have gotten this from Pampered Chef, but I'm sure there's more out there. If you don't have one of these, like I said, you could use a couple of forks and shred it up, or you could use a potato masher, a wide hole potato masher. But all we're going to do now is break up the meat like so. Now if you wanted to, you could also break up the meat before you put it in there, with your hands and just take it and crumble it all up. But totally up to you. I just wanted to dump it in and go off and do my business. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Just chop and chop and chop. And you don't need a whole lot of meat because you're going to add a lot of protein with your beans. And probably some cheese. I love cheese on top of my chili. There you go. The meat is all mashed up. Put that in the sink. Now we're going to add 1 can of baked beans, molasses baked beans, tomato baked beans, maple baked beans, whatever kind of baked beans you have at home that you really like. And here we have 1 can of black beans and 1 can of kidney beans, drained and rinsed. And if you don't like black beans, just put in a 2nd can of your kidney beans. Totally up to you. And now we're going to put in 2 cans of mushrooms, just because I like mushrooms. You don't like mushrooms? Don't have to put them in there. Okay, so now we'll give this a really nice stir to get everything combined. And chili is one of those things, that freezes really, really well. So, hey Caitlin. So if your crock pot is big enough to make a double batch, by all means, do that. All right. And that's it. We're going to put the cover back on and leave it for another hour, and then we'll be back. Hi everybody. Okay, so our chili is almost there, and Caitlin is helping me. So the big family pack of ground beef that we had in the other crock pot is all cooked. And Barry used the meat masher and mashed it all up into little crumbly pieces. And now Caitlin is taking the meat out and putting it in a pan so it can cool. Then we're going to take the stock that's in the pan, put it in a bowl, and put it in the fridge. What will happen is the fat will rise to the top and go solid. So then we can take that off and then add back just the pure beef juice, put it back with the meat, and then put it in a freezer baggies and throw it in the freezer. Then when you have more chili to make, spaghetti sauce, goulash, hot hamburger sandwiches, whatever, your meat is already done. And take it out of the freezer and use it as you please. And all we did was throw it in the crock pot. We didn't stand by the stove for half an hour trying to cook it and break it up and so on and so forth. So easy, easy peasy. So with our chili, this is it's lovely. It smells really, really good. But I'd like the sauce to be a little thicker. So I'm just pressing it down a little bit so that we can get the juice to come to the top. Then what I've done is I have a kitchen tablespoonful of cornstarch and about an equal amount of water. And this is called a slurry. And if I was just to pour that in now, you could get that. Oh, someone's at the door. The alarm. Yes, I still need that bowl. So now we're going to put our sieve in here. And we're going to pour in our cornstarch. And then I'm going to take the whisk, press the sieve down a little more. There we go. Lift it up, a little bit of fresh juice in, lift it up. You see, now we have no lumps. No lumps whatsoever, which is fantastic. I'll just throw that over there. So what I'm going to do now is let that sit in the crock pot for probably about 10 minutes, still on high, and that will continue to thicken, and then supper will be ready, and we'll be right back. Hi everybody, so our chili is ready. Now, there we go. Look at that. Of course I made a mess on the side of the bowl, but that's okay. And we'll put a little bit of cheese on top. And ta-da! That's what's for supper tonight. Now, you could just use chili with cheese, chili by itself, chili on rice, chili on salad, chili with sour cream. You can make a chili dog. You could even make chili mac and cheese. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do with chili. Yes, Daisy, I'll give you some. So I hope you give it a go. Enjoy. Bye. Here you go, Caitlin.